Okay, so I want to say some more stuff. About the Voting Rights Act thing. And I think what we have to remember is that God don't usually give good men over to their enemies unless the men been doing some bad things for a long time, right? So, yeah, is Trump on his way to hell in gasoline draws and everybody who supports him? Sure. Gasoline draws all around. Duh. Because you don't get to go around treating people differently than the way you want to be treated and not have that come back to you. And if you're gaslighting people to carry out evil, guess what? Gasoline draws going to be prominent in your future, right? And sure, there's a way to have comfort even in that, because God said he would send a comforter. So even, it's like people forget that the devil is also God's son, right? So the devil's children are God's grandchildren, right? So they're going to have enough juice to, do some things, right? And of course, they're not going to have to be held to the standard that we're going to be held to get what they want. So yes, mediocrity follows them and they get success off of mediocrity. Of course, they're not held to the same standard. They are on their way to hell. If they didn't get some kind of goodness from mediocrity, where was they going to get the goodness? And they still God's grandchildren, right? So even though they on their way to hell in gasoline draws, they're still entitled to some kind of goodness. And how do they get that goodness? They got just enough juice that you can fuck around and find out that you actually do not want it with God's enemies if you are out of line with God. That's how much juice they got. Just enough to get you in line when you're wrong, right? So getting this mess straightened out, it's not going to come from arguing with politicians. It's going to come from reinstating God's policies and living up to them and living and treating people like you want to be treated. If you want to be listened to in the streets, it's somebody at home you're supposed to be listening to that you're not, right? And you're going to reap what you sow, right? That's just how that works. So, yes, I get the instinct to go and be like arguing with, people who hate you to try to get some kind of act right, but that's not how it works. You have to treat the people who love you like you love them. Because the thing about God giving men over to their enemies when they're out of line is that when you get right with God, he will make even your enemies to be at peace with you, right? So if they're not at peace with you, it's not because they're wrong, it's because you are, right? And they're doing what they're supposed to do to help you get right. And that may buy them some type of comfort when they finally do reach hell, right? They're supposed to do what they're supposed to do. You are too. And what you're supposed to do is love God with your whole heart and love your neighbor as you love yourself. And no matter what you tell yourself about the quality that you're doing that at, the results speak for themselves. The results say that's not what you've been doing. The results say you've been playing in God's face. The results say that every man in America right now need to be fasting and praying and seeking God's face for how to lead us out of this bullshit they didn't got us into, right? But I can tell you how you do it. You love God with your whole heart and you love your neighbor as you love yourself. If you do that right, he will make your enemies to be at peace with you. And if they're not at peace with you, you haven't been doing that, right? Right. So get out these white people face and go take care of somebody right. Go fix some of these broken homes y'all done made. Go clean up some of these messes y'all done made. Go listen to somebody and treat them like you want to be treated. And do that en masse on a large scale and see don't this shit get right. But if you're not gonna do that, then you can't expect to be in your own set of gasoline draws right next to God's enemies. You can't expect that. In the meantime, stay out of the way.